Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Long time no see. Today we have a little bit more of an extensive video again, and it's about DCS. Also a long time no see after a lot of War Thunder and stuff. Today we have a look at the MiG-21 module again. I did a video about this I think 2 or 3 years ago. It's a long time ago, and since then a lot has changed in DCS regarding everything, regarding graphics, regarding servers, regarding how things work in general, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this today. It's right now very early in the morning, like 7 o'clock or something, and I have nothing else to do than to record this video. Yeah, let's jump right in. We will go through the cockpit together, we will go through the mechanics of multiplayer together, we will go through the weapon systems, we will go through navigation on the multiplayer servers, because I don't know if it's online right now, because as I said, it's very early. But yeah, on this server where the MiG-21 is being flown mostly, you can't have a look at the map and see where you are anymore, and that throws many people off. And I had to deal with it myself. So yeah, we will go through everything that I can think of regarding the MiG-21. So let's hop right in. Okay, so first things first. When you first purchase the module, so the plane, and you join onto the aforementioned server, and you don't know the map, then you don't know where the hell you are. And that's very bad. So I want to show you how to navigate on the multiplayer server, the Cold War server. So let's say you, as I said, you purchase the module, you first hop into the game, you know the basic controls, etc., and then you join, and you don't know where you are. You start, you take off, and after, let's say, 5 minutes, you forgot where your home base is. And that's very bad, because you can't go back and land and repair and rearm, etc. pp. So, you can Google this list. So you just type into Google list of all available DCS world beacons, and then the first result will be this page from DCS World, and this is an Excel sheet. You just download this, and what you will see then is this. It looks very confusing, but fear not, you can ignore like 99% of all the information being shown right here. So what we don't need is basically everything in this category, in this right category. We don't need this at all, so you can go to ignore all this. So let's say you joined, and you, of course, you know where you are right now, right? So you know your home base. It's also shown when you join where your aircraft will be, so you know where you are. But you can't find back so easily when you don't know the map. And this is what this is for. So let's say we joined at Mineralnie Wody. There are a lot of things shown for these different airports, but what we only need every time is this, where it says RSBN. Can you see this? Yeah, okay. So for the example, we stay at Mineralnie Wody, we only need RSBN. That is basically a navigation channel it's a directional beacon, easily explained. So when you go into the aircraft and you set the channel, which is shown here, to this RSBN beacon, then it will show you the direction where you have to go to reach that beacon again, and the distance to the beacon in the aircraft itself. So it's like it's a GPS for poor people, okay? Basically. So you set the RSBN channel in the aircraft. I will show you later how this is working. And then you will always find back to Mineralnie Vody. So let's now hop into the game. And because the multiplayer server is empty right now, because it's so early in the morning, and then I can show you exactly what I mean. Alright, so now we are at the aircraft selection screen. 0 players, 0 players. And yeah, now we go in the plane. And it's Mineralnie Vody. It's not every time Mineralnie Vody. It depends on the map, but luckily it sticks with our earlier example here. So we go here, we select the plane. You can read the briefing and see where things are. It shows you graphically what you have to do and a little story and blah 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 blah. But we will not focus on this right now. What we will do is we will focus on the navigation stuff first, and then we go regarding the other stuff I mentioned in the intro. So it takes a bit to load. It's always like this. It's DCS, you know. Alright, and we're in the aircraft. So, and at Mineralnie Vody as well. I will quickly let the auto start run. Not because I want to fly, but because I want all the electrical systems going, so that I can tell you exactly what you have to set everything to. So, aircraft is starting up. There's no computers, of course. It's all manual switches and stuff. And we should already have electrical power. So this here on the left side is the RSBN panel. And that's where you want to set your channel. It says here navigation and land. So we set both channels to 6, as we saw earlier in the list. That's Mineralnie Vody. Can I please see the other knob? Yes, okay, right. And then we enable this and this. This gives you the azimuth and distance. And then what will happen is that this compass will show you exactly where you have to go. And also here in the top right, it will show you the distance to that beacon. Right? Wait a second. Wait, it was channel 7. That's I thought, something was off. So when you have reception, it will go green here. All right. So it shows you right now that we are like 500 meters from the beacon somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it should be over in this direction, somewhere there. Maybe this antenna? No, I don't think so. That's radar. So, okay. That's exactly what you have to do. And now, when you start and take off, you will always see the distance to the beacon. So this number right here are kilometers, tenths of kilometers, and 100 of kilometers. But you will never go far further away than I don't know, 200 kilometers anyway. And here it shows you the direction where you have to go in this either this or that needle. But that's not so important, because you will definitely catch my drift here. And that's how you can find back home. Oh, there's another guy. Let's see. Who's online that early? Really? Oh, okay. Mad Dog 5. Hello. Yeah, right. So that's what you have to do. That's navigation. You can, of course, navigate by landmarks as well, but yeah, as I said earlier, you will be more busy with fighting and fighting the MiG itself, because it's not so easy to fly. And that's one of our next topics. So we will go off here and I will show you in single player how the basics work. I can't go through all of the systems because it's just too complicated, but I will show you how I do it, and yeah, and how I'm mostly successful in it. So let's jump right into this as well. So now we are in single player. It's just a free flight mode that I enabled. There's another MiG bot doing his job. So first, I think what is most interesting for you guys is the weapons, right? So we press hashtag, I don't know how it's called in English. Then we press F8, and then we press F1. And then we are in the rearming screen. So on the multiplayer server, mostly what you will see, or what you are flying against, are planes that have just infrared missiles. There are, I think there is a Harrier as well sometimes, but I'm not sure if it can carry radar guided missiles. I don't think so. I don't have that module, but I don't think it can carry radar guided missiles. And also what you will verse are the Viggens, the Swedish plane. And that can also not carry radar guided missiles. So what you only will need are flares, right? You don't need chaff to confuse radar missiles. You only need flares. So take a full amount of flares and no chaff. For the gun ammo type, well, you want to shoot at aircraft, so you would select A-to-A, air-to-air gun shell mix. And also, now that's the most interesting stuff right here. The weapons, what you have to do. So let's start from left to right. It says in the numeric stuff here where all this stuff is mounted on the aircraft. So 7 is the pods. You ignore that. you can have smoke, but you don't need smoke. Here it says at position number 6 you need this ASO2. That will give you the ability to use chaff and flare. If you don't select this, you can't use chaff and flare. Alright? That's very important. I sometimes forget this as well. And that's very bad, because if somebody is at your 6 and firing missiles at you, you want to confuse the missiles. And that's not possible without this pod. ASO2. That's what you need. Take this all the time. And then in the MiG, it has very short legs without fuel tanks, external fuel tanks. So sadly, in the MiG, there he goes. Okay, so in the MiG, you definitely need a fuel tank. I always use the fuel for takeoff, so I select this 490 liter tank, the central tank. That's enough for me, but for longer flight sessions I would recommend that you take the 800 liters. Okay, so but I always stick with this because I just use maximum afterburner on takeoff and climb, and then after this I tend to use not my afterburner at all, and then also basically I'm very conservative with my fuel normally, so I don't need that. When you rearmed and have this fuel tank selected, you will see here in the fuel gauge that it jumps from 3000 to somewhere like here, so a little bit over 3. So if it's a little bit over 3, you know you have a fuel tank on the plane. If it's 3 and below, you don't have a fuel tank on your plane. You don't have any indication that you have a fuel tank. Actually, you can just see this in this gauge here. Okay, so then the missiles. The MiG-21 can carry R3R missiles that are radar guided missiles, but the radar in the MiG-21 sucks. That's how it is. It really sucks. So in theory, you would have the capability to lock onto an enemy fighter and kill him from a longer distance than his missiles can reach. So that's the theory. But in practice, that's not how it works at all. So don't select this. Just ignore it. Same with the R13M, R13M1. What I always do, since I want to be able to maneuver a little bit, is take the R60 or the R60M times 2, not more than this. So you are here and you can carry up to 8 infrared guided missiles. So you can select this, you can select this as well, and here as well. But I don't recommend this because your plane gets way too heavy. You have, in theory then, a lot of fighting power. So you have 8 missiles, right? But I don't do that. The plane is not maneuverable in the first place, and when you load so heavy stuff on your plane, it will not work. So what I do is either I go with this setup, 4 missiles, that's the maximum really I go with, or I just go with really 1 missile at all. That's everything. That's mostly my setup. Because by then, when I've used these missiles, my fuel is starting to get empty anyway. It's like 1,000 liters then, normally. And then I need to go back home anyway. So it makes no sense to load your plane up with 8 missiles and then you fire 2 and then you have to run away because your fuel gets low. That makes no sense. So I always take 2. The enemies have 2 mostly as well, since the Tiger, so the F5, can only carry 2 missiles anyway. And so it's a good compromise between speed, fuel, and fighting capability. That's my opinion. Maybe you have another one, but that's how I do this. Okay, you can also, for the ground objective, carry bombs and these rockets. So these are rocket pods basically, but I'm not much of a ground strike guy. I mostly am in fighter duty and I just want to fight. So yeah, so that's the missiles and the other stuff. And now a little bit of confusion again, because here in the numerals it says these are stores 2 and 4 for the missiles, right? And so in the missile selection knob here, when you don't know about this, you would say, okay, 2 and 4, then I will set to 4 as well, because I want to fire the left missile first. That's wrong. The inner pylons, so okay, the inner pylons are position 1 and 2. 1 and 2. You can also go here, then it's select both of them. But I do this mostly manually. You can just press the number 1 on your keyboard, like this, and it goes to 1. You can press 2 on the keyboard, it goes to 2. You can press 3 on the keyboard, it goes to 3. So 1 and 2 are, I think can I see this here from outside? No, not really, huh? No, I can't show you this, I think. Can I? No, it doesn't let me. Oh, okay. That's a good. So 1 and 2, the inner pylons. Not how it says in the rearmament screen, but 1 and 2 are your inner pylons. These are 1 and 2. 1, and on the other wing I can't see because of the cockpit. And 3 and 4 are the outer pylons. Okay? Don't let that confuse you. It's not how it says here on the rearmament screen. Definitely not. Okay, so that's everything regarding the weapons. Not everything, but what you need to fight. Okay, so regarding tips and tricks. When you use the auto start, which I always do, you can also start the aircraft manually, of course, right? You can push every knob and switch yourself. I don't do that. I just press Windows and position 1 on my keyboard. Bloop, and it starts up automatically. And within 45 seconds, it's ready to go. But not completely. You will see this shortly as well. It does not press any knob that you have to press and every switch that you have to switch. So basically the only thing what that does is it gets you the engine running and is enabling the radar in standby mode. That's everything auto start does. Everything else you have to do manually still. So after the auto start is done, which will be done very shortly. Yeah, it says up here, automatic startup procedure complete. What you need to do then to get your aircraft combat ready is what I do, again, what I do. Put that to RSBN so you can navigate. Should be in the RSBN position. Here are your flaps controls. That's landing. That's takeoff, that's up. You don't need the flaps to start. You just need the flaps to land. That's my opinion. So just press up here, because when you auto started the plane, it's here, and it will show you that the flaps are out in that panel right here. But sometimes, especially new players, they will forget about this and just leave the flaps in this position and then wonder, hey, why I'm so slow. So at start, press up. Press again for the neutral position, and that's it. Then set up your RSBN, right? So what I explained earlier. Then press this thing right here, so that you can retract your gear. If that pin is out, then you can't retract your gear. And then you have to do it while in flight. That can be fiddly, so just do it now. Okay, then these little knobs, these are for the missile modes. You can switch between SAR and IR and neutral. I don't know what neutral does actually, but I always set it to the position of the type of my missiles. So I know I'm using IR missiles, so switch the thing to IR. Also we are in air-to-air mode, so switch that to air-to-air. Then activate your first pylon. If you did it like I do, then you will select position number 1, so the inner pylon. Can't show you because cockpit is closed, but you hopefully paid attention earlier. Okay, and then you need to press this. It makes poof. That is the arming of your cannon. Now you can shoot with your cannon. If you don't do this, you can't shoot with your cannon, because this is basically priming it. It pushes the first shell into the chamber. It's not doing this automatically, you have to do this. The reason why there are 3 buttons for the same function is sometimes, well, actually not in the sim, but in real life, sometimes one fails and then you can do another one and another one. And then it will definitely be armed. Okay, then push your stick to the side and there you will find the radar warning altimeter. So normally it's set to something like this, 100 meters or 50 meters. That means that we'll hear a very annoying beeping sound when you will get at 100 meters or below, or in this position 50 meters and below. Since you will not go very high normally on these multiplayer servers, just disable it. It goes on everyone's nerves and it makes stuff just harder. Okay, then on the right side, sometimes you want to use your radar. Not actually to lock onto targets, but to identify them, if it's friend or foe. For this, you need to set up this knob or switch here. This enables the IFF system. Otherwise, you can lock onto targets or see targets in the radar screen right here, but you will not be able to see if it's a friend or a foe. A friend is shown in this display as a little equal sign. A foe will be shown in this display as a minus sign. So equal, same as you, minus sign, bad guy. Okay? Alright. Also, since you will be very low anyway, at lower altitudes, you can enable this to the up position. That will basically filter out any ground noise that that you would see. Can I turn this on right now? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's working right now. See this little stuff here? If I disable this, it would get more and more and more after time. So just enable this and this clutter will mostly disappear. It will not disappear because we are very close to a building right now, and I think it actually shows the ground stuff right here. But this computes a little bit and filters out some noise. Now just put this up into the low altitude position, because you will be mostly in low altitudes or at low altitudes. Then the auto start forgets very important stuff. You need this and this. That's basically this button. That's the next thing. SPRD drop cover. You have to remove the security cap right here. Otherwise, you will not be able to use Jeff and Freya. So these two are responsible for these systems, and this knob has to be activated or removed. And then you can press this. Okay, now what you want to do is set the IFF decoder to on. Enable the sights, enable the gun, enable the heating systems, the rocket heating systems. You don't really need this, but it's just my routine. You enable this, and you power on the pylons 1 and 2, and you power on your pylons 3 and 4. Of course, as I said earlier, if you don't have anything on pylons 3 and 4, you don't need to activate this, or the other way around. You just need to activate the pylons where you have weapons. But as I said, it's just my routine to go through all these switches. This, and this. Then I know my aircraft is ready for anything, and I don't have to pay attention anymore. Okay, so now we are almost done. Bear with me. What you need now is you have to enable your HUD. And this is done with this little switch here. It says pipper on off. And you can see, there's a pipper. You can enable this, and you can also control how dim or light it is with this knob here. So I always enable maximum brightness because why not? And this thing then will lock on to targets. And when you have something in range of your IR missiles, it makes a beeping sound like woo. And then this pipper will follow automatically the locked on target. So if an enemy is flying through your line of sight from here to here, it will show the pipper will go, it will jump onto the target, and then it will follow the target basically. Okay, so that's automatic startup, extended startup by yourself. And now let's jump onto the last topic, which is tactics. Okay, last to the tactics, as I said. For this I have prepared a little video because I can pause and explain what I'm doing. This is from my last multiplayer session, I think yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday. And I shot down a tiger, and so I can exactly show you what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, etc. So let's start with my position. As you can see, I am low. Normally you would think as a new player the MiG-21, hey, that's a high altitude fighter, right? So why am I so low? Because everybody is low. I don't know really why, but it's just how this server works. I think it also has to do with spotting. You can't, or you have to rely on spotting, and you can spot the best in DCS when you are low and you can see the target against the sky, so a little black dot. If it's the other way around, if you are very high and the enemy creeps up behind you, you are not able to see him. Yeah, I think that's the reason why everybody is low. So yeah, so right now I have gotten an AWACS call. There's always AWACS support in these multiplayer sessions, so they give you a indication in which direction the enemy is, so a course of the enemy, and the range to the enemy, and the altitude of the enemy. Now you would think as a new player, hey, that's easy, right? I just have to go where the enemy is and shoot him. No, that's not so easy. Because that's just the last known position, and the enemy can mask themselves if they are going into the hills, or if they are going super low on treetop level, then also it's very possible that the AWACS will not catch it. So you have to have your head on a swivel and really look around all the time. So I will start the video, and very shortly I will explain another thing. So here in the top right corner, you can initiate AWACS calls yourself. Let's go back 1 second or so. Yeah. So if you press the hashtag sign, or in German the Raute, then you get this menu, and you can press after this F7 AWACS, and then you can press F1, that's for the MiG-21, and then you can press F4, request bogey dope. That means please give me a direction to the nearest enemy. You can do this manually every time, but since I use that very often, I have programmed myself a little macro which I have set to my keyboard. So I have a Logitech Gaming G710 keyboard, and that allows you to program macros. So little programs that do stuff automatically for you. And I have function keys on my keyboard. And I programmed this key sequence to one of the function keys, so that I don't have to do everything myself, because it's very distracting in flight when you have to go hashtag sign and AWACS F7 and F4 and F1 blah 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 blah. I don't like that, so I just press one button and this goes automatically. If you have something like me, if you have some gaming keyboard, I strongly recommend that you set up a macro for this as well, because it just goes faster and you don't need to fiddle around in flight with 1000 kilometers per hour with your keys. I hate this. So I just programmed this little macro. Okay, let's go on. And now we get an indication. 1, that's me. 21, that's my aircraft type. Bra, that's the course. 270 for 100. So that is the course. 270 kilometers, not miles, I think, because the MiG is in kilometers. 270 kilometers or miles, whatever, in 100 kilometer distance at altitude 11,000. And hot means that the enemy is coming directly to you. This right here will not be accurate in this video, because, as I said earlier, sometimes the enemy or the your AWACS does not give you what you want to see. It gives you what it just looks at. So it's not super reliable. It just gives you an indication sometimes where stuff is in general, but it will not give you the indication that you want to hear. You will see shortly why. AWACS call again. And see, now it gives me a different thing. It says 284, that's the course, for 80 at 2,500. That here at the top 11,000, nobody is that high. So I know it's the enemy AWACS. So our AWACS picks up the enemy AWACS. And that's what it showed me here. But right now, a few seconds later, it says, hey, there's something else at course 284 in 80 miles or kilometers at 2,500, and it's hot. So that is a fighter. So I look at my compass. I'm almost in that direction, so I keep going there. I enable the radar just quickly for a quick check. I don't expect anything, because as I said, it sucks mostly, but sometimes it works. Okay, maybe I need to explain this again. Enemy B-52 spotted 60 kilometers south east of my COP, altitude blah 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 blah, en route to blah 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 blah. Intercept now. That is the objective of the server. So these are American B-52s, and they want to bomb our objective. And it's basically AI doing its job. If you shoot this down, your site will get some points and live longer. I'm not going after this right now because I have a different target, but yeah, that's that. Again, AWACS call. I do this very often, and again we get a different target. Maybe it's the same actually, because it's the same course, just closer than before. It's at 60 kilometers. I just stick with kilometers, right? Because I think it's kilometers. At 3,000. So he came closer, but climbed a little bit. Last time it was 2,500. quick radar check. And these, don't confuse this. This is not you. Because it says your call sign first, 4. That's not you. So us in that case, yeah, okay. Don't think, oh God, now something is at 30 miles or kilometers. No, 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 no. You always have to pay attention to your call sign. If it says something else, then it's not you, obviously. And how you know it's you is because when you first communicate with AWACS, it says player and then 1, okay? So then you know who you are, and remember this. In this case we are 1, not 4. Radar check again. AWACS check again. You can see I always do this. Because the AWACS basically, oh yeah, see? Now, oh my God, the radar worked! For whatever reason, it sometimes seems like it's coincidental if it works or not. Also, now that we are at it, please remember that you have just 20 or 25 minutes of radar time, because the radar system in the MiG-21 is alcohol cooled, which is yeah, it's a Russian aircraft, so it has to do something with alcohol. So I mostly keep this off first because I want to conserve this cooling fuel or fluid, and second because I don't want to alert the enemy to my presence, because I know that the opposing force, so the Tigers mostly, have an RWR, a digital one, that show you from which direction radar radiation is coming, and also it shows them the type of the aircraft. So they know passively, if you have your radar on in the MiG, that you are coming and from which direction you are coming. So I don't want to give them any more indication that they anyway have. So right now what I'm trying is to fiddle around with the radar. I clicked this button right here in the lower left corner of this panel, that gives you the IFF function. It does not IFF automatically. You have to do this manually. I have this set to my to one switch on my flight stick, and I strongly recommend that you do this yourself as well, because as I said, when you are hastily flying and doing things, you don't want to fiddle around with a lot of stuff, so you have to automate as much as possible, and you don't want to click with your mouse. Maybe you have to use your left hand, take your hands off the keyboard, or your right hand, take your hands off the stick and then press this with your mouse. No, 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 no. What you want to do is put this on one of the switches of your joystick, if you can. Now you have then the IFF function, which hopefully you enabled earlier, and this was this little white knob. And then it shows me that's a minus sign. Okay, let's go back a few seconds. So first, it just shows you, okay, hey, that's a target, but I don't know what it is. Here I don't have IFF enabled yet. And it's upside down T, right? So it's a little, yeah, it's a little T upside down. That says that the target is above you. If it's a normal, if it's a real T, then it would say the target is below you. Then again, that would make not really any sense, because the MiG-21 radar functions like this. It basically looks to the front and up. So in front of your nose and up. It can't really look down, maybe 2 or 3 degrees. But you will almost never see a real T symbol, because it just is technically impossible that it catches somebody below you. So if you see a target on your radar screen in the MiG-21, it will look like this first in 99.999% of the times. Okay, so let's go on. And now I'm fiddling around and trying and lock the guy. But it's not possible, because you can't slew the radar to left and right. You can just slew the radar top to bottom. So you have to point your nose exactly in the direction where the enemy is, and only then you can lock somebody. Otherwise it's not possible. And now what I know what happened is, since I couldn't lock him and also I couldn't see him, I must have passed him, right? And in this case, I strongly recommend to just keep going, because in the MiG you are, with Afterburner, faster than a Tiger, not necessarily than a Viggen, but mostly I'm assuming it's a Tiger because it's the main opposing force. Just keep going. Don't turn around. You can't turn fight in a MiG. Okay, so next a little jump here. So I kept flying and I ignored what just happened, because as I said, I know that I am faster than a Tiger, because a Tiger, when he passed me, he has to fly around, have to fly a curve, and then has to come after me, if he saw me, that is. And I know that I'm faster, so I just kept going. Don't turn around. Just keep it straight. Straight lines. Straight lines and fast. And there I can see something. Can you see it as well? I don't think YouTube is so nice with its compression. But right here I see a smoke trail and a little dot. That's about, I would say, 6-7 kilometers out, roughly estimate. But since it's coming from the enemy direction, I think it's an enemy. So let's have a look. I enable Afterburner, but not too long, because I know he can see me with that Afterburner. Checking radar again. Of course, it's not doing its job right now. I keep checking the radar. At the same time, I'm trying to maintain a visual on the target. I'm checking the aircraft of the enemy side, because I don't want to team kill. And I see gunshots. So one of them is definitely an enemy. And a second target just popped up. Still no radar contact. Yeah, that's how it goes normally. I see two targets. So, just in case you can't see this on YouTube. One target went here, the other target went here. So there's a dot and there's a little dot. I don't know at this point who is the enemy. So I have to decide on one. Last time radar check. I wait with the firing. And at this point I see that this is the MiG, because you can easily see that it has a long nose and delta wing. That has to be a MiG. And there is the other guy again. He didn't see me and just came around to dogfight the MiG. And the MiG here made the mistake that he wants to dogfight as well. Never dogfight in the MiG. Right now, you heard this beep because my missile locked onto the target as it flew by. Now, it's locked onto the correct target on the Tiger. And I fire. And poof! And he's down. That's that. Yeah, he's burning and crashing. Yeah. All right. So that is basically the tactic. That is your job on the multiplayer server. Don't go high. Don't make the mistake. It doesn't work. You will be shot down mostly because they will creep up from behind or below, and they will shoot you in the butt. Keep it low. Except you want to do something sneaky and want to attack their radar planes, so their AWACS. That is possible. You can shoot both of them down and then the enemy is blind for, I don't know, 15 minutes I think, until they respawn, which is a huge win for your team. But don't tell anyone, that's very cheeky. You have just seen how much a team has to rely on AWACS to get stuff done. If the AWACS is down, yeah, it's basically 15 minutes of slaughter time because you don't even need missiles to shoot somebody down. You can just creep up behind them and use your cannon. It's really bad. So if you can shoot their AWACS down, very good for you, but definitely protect your own, no matter for what side you are flying. Okay, last time, or last little video I have for you today to conclude everything is the landing, because that's another thing people struggle with. Okay, now the last video, that is the landing. Yeah, it's mostly not possible to land a MiG-21 in an elegant way because the landing speed is very high. It's 300 to 400 kilometers an hour. That is more than in the Tiger, that is more than in the Viggen, that is more than in the L-39. It's more than, yeah, really almost every other fighter plane. Jet, that is. You can land it slower, but I don't recommend this because the wings are so short that you will lose lift and then you will crash. And then before that you will stall and all of kind of bad things could happen. So right now you can see here in the airspeed indicator that I'm around 300 kilometers an hour, which is perfect. In front of us is the airport or airstrip, whatever. And you will see that my mouse cursor is fiddling around with my gear because I wasn't sure if my gear was coming out or not. Normally you can hear, or there's an indication, you can hear if your gear is out. It makes plomp, plomp, plomp 3 times for your 3 wheels, but I couldn't hear it. So I fiddled around with it, retracted the gear and extended it again to be sure that it's out. Okay, I'm a little off the runway right now because I focused on my gear lever right here, but that's not a problem. You could theoretically land the MiG even in the grass. The landing gear is so strong that it can sustain this kind of stress, and I tend to just let the MiG fall down like a piano from the 5th floor because it works. You will see shortly. I'm still holding about 300 kilometers an hour. Now I'm throttling down and let it fall. Plomp. As I said, not very elegant, but definitely it works. I think the landing gear in any other plane would have given up now, The MiG is designed to do this because it's designed for very high landing speeds, and it's designed to not land on concrete landing strips but on grass as well. So when you don't overstress it, really it's okay. Don't worry. Alright, now I'm braking, going off the runway, and I'm done. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I hope that I could give you an overview. If you are still here, thanks for bearing with me so long. I could talk even more about this plane because these are not all kinds of tricks I know. There is a little bit else that I could tell you. For example, about manual nose cone control for high speed, regarding manual, not fly-by-wire. There's an analog fly-by-wire system in here, which controls your maximum angle of attack basically. You can fiddle around with this manually so that you can pull more G's in a turn for a short amount of time and even turn fight, quote unquote, in the MiG, at least for, let's say, a minute or so, which gives you abilities that normally in the automatic modes the MiG-21 doesn't have, but that would be too much right now because I know the video is very long anyway. If you want to have a video about these two systems as well, let's say leave a comment please. And as usual, I like to talk with you guys, and I'm very glad that I finally found the time to make a video again, and to make up for my lack of videos in the last time. This is very, 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 very long. So, okay, see you guys in the next one if you want, and have a great day, guys. Bye bye.